it's a minefield of contradicting information out there, and that not only does it create noise and overwhelm in your mind, but it also creates confusion because you're system hopping, right? You're method switching. You're like probably merging conflicting techniques. And when that happens, that confusion, that switching that's going on in your brain, your dog loses clarity of what it is that you're trying to do. Like they're literally like, what is going on? We know that they mirror you. We know that our dogs mirror us. We know that they feed off of our energy and our intent. So when that energy and intent is chaotic and frustrated and overwhelmed, you can have dogs that just shut down. Yes, today on the podcast, hey, have you done everything, and I mean everything, to try to help your dog, and yet it's not working? Today we're going to find out why. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Hey there, friend. I know what it feels like to wonder if you're the problem. To lie awake asking, why isn't this working? Or am I messing my dog up? I've been there too, and I want you to know something. You, my friend, are not broken, and your dog is not beyond help. You're just stuck in a system that was never built for fearful dogs, or most dogs, if I'm being honest. And definitely not built for the heart-led humans that love them. And that's why I created the Fearless Framework, not as another training program, but as a new way to understand your dog and learn how to become the center of their world, seeing it through their eyes. So if you're ready to stop fighting behavior and start building trust, this is your invitation. Head on over to beyondobedience.ca/fearless and join me today. And I'll walk with you every step of the way. I'll see you there. Well, hello, my beautiful friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. Super duper welcome if you're new. And thanks for joining us here. This is a little different. I'm not going to lie. It's not your typical dog training advice. It's kind of outside the box a little, but that's probably why you're here, right? Am I right? If you are somebody that has ever said, oh my gosh, I feel like I've tried everything and nothing is working, I want you to know, you're not failing. You're not, being lazy. You're not, I know, let me back up a little bit. I know most times when people are doing all the things, you're doing all the things right. Like you're going to the classes and you're taking the online courses and you're doing all the things and things aren't going right. And the very first thing that is asked or thought of is, well, you must not be practicing, or you must not be doing the repetitions, or you must not be doing any of the homework. That's the first thing that happens. And hey, you may be like me, and that might be true. Just confessed it right out. You may be like me, and that might be true. But for a lot of people, that's not actually the case. They are doing the work. They are putting in the time. They are doing all the things, and yet it still isn't working. And I get that all the time. I will get very desperate emails that say, listen, I have done everything. Like, what about this, Tracy, makes this any different than the hundreds of other different things I've already tried? And if that is you, if you're feeling that way right now, this episode is for you, my friend. This episode is for you, my friend, because man, do I ever know all about trying everything. I always relate this frustration back to my health journey or my battle with weight or whatever you want to call it. And that feeling of like honestly doing everything, trying everything, every diet, every technique, doing all the things. and still not getting the results. I know how frustrating that can be. I've also been in the dog world too, enough to know that there's a lot going on in there. And so I wanted to kind of, one, let you know that there's hope if you feel this way. There is hope for you, my friend. But I also wanted to talk about the reason why it's not working, if you feel like it's not working. Now, let me backtrack again, because I did confess. I confessed that I was that person. When I was taking dog training classes with my dogs, I was that person that I don't know where the week went. Like I would do the dog training class. They'd give us the homework. I would leave going, this week is going to be different. I'm going to do all the homework. And then I don't know, life happens and things go on and I have to go back to my job and I have to do all the things. And next thing you know, it's class time again and I haven't done anything. And I find myself in the parking lot 20 minutes before the class starts doing 150 sits and just being like, please don't embarrass me. Like sit down, sit down. Stuffing chicken wieners in my dog's faces. Like, just do the thing. Don't make me look bad. And spoiler alert, they never did. But that's another story altogether. The reason why I was still very successful in dog training class had nothing to do with the fact that I didn't do the homework. And this is why part of me is like, hey, you can have your cake and eat it too. But I want to talk a little bit more about, first of all, why it's not working. And the very first reason why it's not working, if you're someone that's like, I'm trying everything, I'm doing everything, it's because everything equals noise, right? That idea of doing everything. And again, like I start to hold my chest a little bit when I think about the diet industry and all the things that I've tried and the desperate things that I've tried. The desperate things that I've tried. Okay, like if you know, but like, have you, back in the day, like, cause I've been dealing with this like my entire life, but back in the day, like it would be like late night infomercials, where you'd call and you buy things. You'd call up like the shopping channels and whatnot. And it would be like ridiculous things like pills. Like you just need this pill that burns more calories and all that stuff. And I fell for it and I would try it and it never worked. And I was like, oh, and then it was the next exercise thing. What are all the, did anyone else do Tybo? Totally didn't. Now, mind you, I liked Tybo, but like Tybo, I did Tybo. I can kind of see the picture on the VHS tape. Oh my gosh, I'm 100% aging myself. The VHS tapes that I got. God. Thigh Masters. Thigh Masters. Oh, Tracy's gone down a very horrible dieting exercise nostalgic rabbit hole. My apologies. Get back into it. Anyway, my point, my friend, is that everything equals noise. And all of those things, especially in the dog training world, they contradict each other. Like you're not just getting like, you try this Thigh Master and also these workout bands that do the same thing. That's not what you're getting in the dog training industry. You're getting legitimate conflicting advice. Like all you need to do is do this correction. Don't ever do corrections. Like that's the information and the feedback you're getting on a daily basis if you're out there researching and searching for solutions for behavior problems. You will get somebody that'll be like, listen, it shouldn't take you 6 to 8 months to correct your dog's walking on a leash. And you've got someone else going, it takes time, so don't be like, don't do any aversives. Say this, but don't say that. Use this, but don't use this. Like you guys, it's a minefield of contradicting information out there, and that not only does it create noise and overwhelm in your mind, but it also creates confusion because you're system hopping, right? You're method switching. You're like probably merging conflicting techniques. And when that happens, that confusion, that switching that's going on in your brain, your dog loses clarity of what it is that you're trying to do. Like they're literally like, what is going on? We know that they mirror you. We know that our dogs mirror us. We know that they They feed off of our energy and our intent. So when that energy and intent is chaotic and frustrated and overwhelmed, you can have dogs that just shut down. They're just like, I can't even with you. What are you even doing? So conflicting advice actually creates a conflicting experience, not just for you, but for the dog. And when you feel conflicted, when you feel overwhelmed, you can't lead them. They're not going to naturally follow you. They're going to be like, you're chaotic. They might follow the food, right? That's where food will get you something. But they're not following you because you don't really know. And you're going to be questioning, is that even right? I don't even know what I'm doing. So we lose ourselves in the chaos. We start questioning every single move that we do. We're like, we start it and then we're like, is that right? I don't, and that hesitation breaks the moment. The dog sees the gap and you lose the dog, right? We have these, as we move through the day, and you'll start, I get really sort of like into this. I'm actually closing my eyes as I talk about this because there are moments with our dogs where we feel 100% connected. Right? I'm sure you've felt it. You've just felt it. It feels like magic. Everything is easy and everything sort of flows and it feels easy. And if you're sitting there listening to this going, I haven't felt that ever, Tracy, or in years or whatever, then this message is for you because this is what we're talking about. That can happen more and more often when we get rid of the conflict, when we get rid of the competing advice and whatnot that's going on in your head. Excuse me. I relate it to those moments where I literally stand in front of a fridge and I open the door and I'm like, I don't even know what to eat anymore. I can't remember. Is this fruit high glycemic or low glycemic? Is this carb okay or not okay? Can I have maple syrup? It's a natural sugar, but I'm not allowed to have sugars. But does that count as sugar? Like, I have stood in front of my refrigerator and just stood there frozen staring in it. And then I close the door in defeat, go, I don't even know what to eat. And then you know what always happens? I eat something stupid because I'm like, I don't even care anymore. I'm just going to go get a burger. Like, it's happened to me more than once. So I can imagine the same sort of thing where we're just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to stand there. But see, that hesitation, that moment where you're like, I don't even know, your dog is going to go, okay, I can't with you, right? Again, I'm going to hit this point again. Survival brains can't wait for indecision. They can't wait for indecision. Indecision is a death sentence to a survival brain. So they'll either decide on their own, retreat, whatever, okay? So we don't pause, we don't see. Most owners are taught to do, but not to observe. Now, this sounds like I'm contradicting myself because I'm talking about not, pausing. I'm talking about this idea before you even start. Before we even start the training, the whatever, we need to pause. We need to pause and we need to ask for some clarity. Like, what are we actually doing here? And I know that sounds really, really silly because you'd be like, well, I'm trying to get the dog to do whatever, the sit or whatever. But I want you to actually ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's the purpose of this? What is the point of this? Why do I want to achieve this thing? And when I started doing that, I started finding out I don't really have an answer for those things. So true. I don't really have an answer. Why am I getting my dog to sit in this moment? I don't know. It's the first thing we teach our dogs to do is sit, right? It's the first thing we teach our dogs to do. And yet I stopped doing that a long time ago. Do my dogs know how to sit? Sometimes. I don't really care though, because sit isn't really an important command for me. It's really not. Sounds crazy, I know. But the problem is that when we don't pause first before we start, we don't, just give ourselves a second to get some clarity. If we don't slow down and notice, we tend to rush in And we start with the conflicting advice where this, like, our brain just is on overdrive. But if we can actually slow our brain down and be like, okay, what am I even asking the dog to do here? And can I do it slower? And can I notice? So I'm not talking about my mind's going a million miles a minute with conflicting advice and and then I pause and go, what am I even doing? I'm talking about, okay, I'm going to decide what I want to do. And can I do that slower? Can I notice what's going on? I actually happened to be driving down the road today. I was dropping off my son at work. And I guess from what I could tell in the very short time frame was that there was a dog. It was at the corner house. The dog must have gotten out, and there was a young girl that was trying to catch the dog. And as I was kind of going through the intersection, I look over and she's got the dog by the collar, and the dog's doing this like crazy, like, oh my gosh, you tell the dog's freaked out, and she's just trying to pull the dog. And in that second, I thought, if you were to just stop for a sec, take a breath, calm down, and then use your other hand and ask the dog to come with you. Like, I know we're in a panic state because the dog get out, we got to catch the dog, but there are times when we can just slow down and then ask, slow down and ask. You would be amazed how many dogs will go, oh, okay, I didn't know that's what you were asking. I just saw your crazy ass energy coming at me all frantic with this, like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. And I wanted to flee. If we had stopped and just said, hey, you want to come back inside, you'd be surprised how, actually, let me tell you this story. Okay, how much time do I have? My son's going to be home soon. How much time? I'll quickly tell you the story just because you know me, I like stories. So if you didn't know this, like our dog business started off as a horse business. We actually had, because it was a horse facility, so we actually had boarding horses and all that stuff. And we had this moment where we were out in the field and one of our horse lines for the field, one of our fences were down, which happens. If you have horses, fences are going to come down. If you have deer, fences are going to come down. Anyway, the horses were in that field, but Mark and I really weren't worried about it. We were just out there. Like, Mark had like his bucket of fencing tools and all that stuff. We're just out there working. The horses are grazing in the field. No big deal. One of our boarders comes into the field, starts walking towards us because she was looking for us and she saw that we were in the field. So she starts walking towards us. And as she approaches, she sees the hole in the field and she yells at us, which was so funny at the time because we knew that we were fixing it. Like, we were trying to find the break in the line and we were fixing it. And she goes, oh my God, there's a hole in the fencing. She starts freaking out. All the horses lift their head like, what's going on? And because she was pointing at it and then running at it, literally every single one of our horses ran out. Now, at first it started off with just smoke. Smoke got on the other side. And I think in the field was soybeans. So at first we were like, it's fine. She's going to come back. It's just soybeans. Like, the grass isn't greener on the other side of that fence. But because of the craziness of this person, and God love her, I do love her, don't get me wrong. But because of the craziness, her energy literally startled the rest of the herd. They all run out. And before we know it, we have, I don't know how many it was, eight horses that go running through the field. And I was like, oh my God. So now we've got horses on the loose. Now, this is the craziest part of this stupid story. This has never happened to us. We were not that close to a highway, but I guess close enough. But we watched them go, I'm like, they'll turn around and come back, right? Because again, nothing out there. It was soybeans. And they didn't, though. We see them kind of make a left. And where do they head? Where do they head? Horse people, put your hands up if you know where they went. No, not to fields and pastures of green. No, let's go to the Trans-Canada Highway and run along that. That's where my horses went. So now we have horses literally running down the center of the Trans-Canada Highway. This is a true story. And we're like freaking out. The border that started this whole thing called her boyfriend was like, we need some help. And then, all this, we were trying to get people like, we don't know what we're doing. Anyway, it ends up, I go follow them. I'm down in the ditch of the Trans-Canada Highway because they had gone off the road. People weren't really being kind, if I'm being honest. Like, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more human compassion where they would like stop the traffic for a second, but they didn't really. Anyway, I ended up getting Flame, and she was freaking out. So she was literally doing circles around me. I was doing lunging circles while walking her down the ditch back up. Some of those horses, as soon as I caught Flame, they started following. They ended up taking off and they ran home. And aside from Smoke, God loves Smoke. Aside from Smoke, they ended up going back down my road, which was Shield Drive at the time. They went back down Shield Drive, turned up our driveway, ran all the way back, and went back into the field as if they had never left, except for Smoke. Smoke made a left when she should have made a right. She was standing on my neighbor's lawn. But aside from her, all of the rest of them literally just ran back and then stood in the field like they had always been there after they made our anyway, that was my story. My whole point to that story, though, was that it was the energy of the border that did that. We had fixed so many fences before. Like, the horses were used to us being out there fixing fences. They never tested anything. It wasn't until she came out and was like, oh my God, there's a hole in the fence, that it literally alerted all the horses. Then when she ran at them, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I was running to help you, like, put the fence back up. I'm like, well, you chased all the horses out of the field. Anyway, it was, everybody was fine. No one got hurt, blah, blah, blah. It ended up fine. But it was one of those situations where if she had just shut up, that would have never happened. Anyway, I don't know where I was in my thing here, but essentially, when we get I was talking about the dog. That's what I was talking about. So my whole point was that seeing that girl, like when you have that frantic energy around dogs, it pushes them, it repels them because they're like, you're freaked out, so we should run. They don't, you have to actually stop and take a breath and take a pause and be like, come this way. Like, we need to see what's going on, and you need to listen to the dog, watch the body language. Which way are they angled? Which way are their feet going? Which direction are their ears going? I get deep into this. Again, I'm going to drop this little hint. We're not signing up yet, but in the boot camp that's coming in the fall, there's video, and I go through like exactly how your body language affects your dog. It's kind of cool. Anyway, but we don't take a moment to sort of check that, right? And then again, we haven't asked our dogs. We don't sit back and ask our dogs. Just with quiet moments, just what are they doing? Can I get you to move? Can I get you, like, how do you feel with me sitting beside you? How do you feel about these things? We spend so much of our time talking at them, doing commands, teaching them commands, that we forget to ask and to listen. And trust takes time, and confidence comes from clarity, not control. And here's the really, really good news. So I want this to be an optimistic thing, right? Here's the really good news about all of this is that you actually don't need more training. Like, if you feel like you've done everything, I've done all the training. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need any more training. You're welcome. You're done. We don't need to do any more training, but we may need to build trust. And believe it or not, we may need to do less. Just when I said less, my shoulders dropped. I was like, doesn't less seem so good right now? Doesn't less seem so good? Because let's get back to the point. This is going to come full circle. I'm going right back to where I started. One of the things is that when dogs aren't progressing in class and not getting anywhere, our immediate reaction or response is, as dog trainers, is that they're not doing their homework. They didn't do their homework. They didn't do their homework. They didn't proof it. They weren't practicing. They didn't do their homework. And while some of that may be true, I'm here to tell you that's not your fault. Like if you have a life beyond dogs, if you have a life beyond dogs, I don't know, like a job and stuff, a career, family, whatever, it does not surprise me that you might have like weeks where you're like, oh, shoot, I didn't have time to train the dog. Like, we have to keep reminding ourselves that, you know, when, especially for board and trains, people take their dogs to board and trains. They're like, how did you get so far in 2 weeks? Because that's the dog trainer's job. Imagine if instead of being, I don't know, say like a dental hygienist or something, you spent all day just training your dog. How quick would it be, right? You have a life and you're allowed to have a life, and you shouldn't be made to feel guilty for having a life. And when I help people, it's actually learning to live with the dog within your life, not extra things on your to-do list, not extra drills, no extra commands, right? And even my lesson, my one lesson that I get everyone to do, I've mentioned it here on the podcast many times, the be with session. That's not like I want you to carve out 15 minutes and do this as a lesson. I'm literally saying, when you're taking 15 minutes, when you take some time to sit down and have a cup of tea, be with your dog. Sit with your dog. Just observe your dog. You don't have to do it as an exercise. It could just be a thing that you do. Just it's an exercise in awareness. And so it becomes not just something that you're doing with your dog, but it actually becomes something that you're doing for yourself. Because we could all use a little bit more of doing nothing, right? Just sit together, just breathe, just watch, right? Just say things like, how interesting. That's all I want you to do. Just notice. That's it. That's it. So that's actually what I want you to do this week. I want you to try finding 15 minutes to just breathe, to just watch, to just sit together and see what happens. Now, obviously, if you get to be all nerdy and geeky like me, you get really into the be with and the observation, because you start to see your dog in a whole new way. And then when you start to see those things, you're going to be like, ooh, I wonder what happens if I do this. That's what I do all the time. Ask the people in the Fearless Framework when they do be with videos. I'm like, ooh, next time try this, or move to this side, see what happens. Like, next time try that. And I might not have the answer to why your dog did the thing that it did. I will just be like, that's kind of cool. What happens if you do this? Does that happen? Try this. Everything for me is just let's just try something and see what happens. And then I observe it and go, that's interesting. And it really does give you a different insight to your dog. It really does give you a deeper connection with your dog. I am 100% on board with the Stephen Covey line, seek first to understand, then to be understood. I believe that is so important when we're talking about a different species. We spend so much of our time trying to get dogs to understand us, to do what we say, to learn English as a second language. And we do not give enough time at all to just understand them. And I'm not even asking you to get oodles and oodles of dog books and read about the history of dog and learn about dog behavior. I'm just saying, just sit and watch your dog. Your dog is going to be your greatest teacher. And dogs that you have now will teach you and make you a better person for the dogs you have in the future, if you take the time and learn the lessons that they are more than willing to teach you. That is the beautiful thing about having a relationship with dogs. So that's what I want you to do this week, my friend. Take some time. Doesn't have to be a long time. Just be 10, 15 minutes. Just take a break. Just sit. Just be with your dog. No commands, no drills. Please don't ask them to lie down with you. That's not the point. No expectations. So when I say no commands, no commands. The amount of times that people will submit their be with videos to me and I can see them like tapping the ground, be like, come and lie down. I'm like, no. No, 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 no. I just want you to sit down. And then I want you to see what your dog does. That's the very first step. Does your dog get up and leave the room and go someplace else? How interesting. How interesting. When people work with me for a while, especially in the Fearless Framework and all that stuff, and we get you to do this stuff, we're going to recheck that in a couple of months, and you're going to be amazed at the difference from a dog that wants nothing to do with you to a dog that wants to be with you all the time. Right? So that is your challenge for this week, my friend. Try the Be With. Come into the Living Beyond Obedience group. Share what happened when you be with your dog. What did you see? What did you observe? How interesting. Share your how interesting moments inside the Living Beyond Obedience group. Love that. If you are interested in doing more than that, stepping further into this journey, I invite you to join us in the Fearless Framework. It's not for everybody. So if you're not sure, you can always send me a message. Just go to beyondobedience.ca/fearless. There's a little pop-up video that comes up that's got me and Nike on it. Click on that. You can send me a message and just ask, is this right for me, Tracy? And I will send you a message back. No pressure, just a message back to let you know if I think it's the right fit. All right, I think that's it for me today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, could you take a moment out of your busy day and give me a 5-star written review on Apple? It really does help to push the podcast out to more and more people. Or if you're on Spotify, hit the 5 stars and leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. And as always, get out there today, my friend, and be the person that your dog thinks you are. Because your dog thinks that you're amazing. And so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only, and is not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with dangerous behavior with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.